Today on Investigate TV Plus, millions of families struggle to pay the rent or find a budget-friendly place to live. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. We examine the high cost of housing and the innovations crucial for building the foundation for affordable solutions. Plus, a rude awakening from the American dream.
The homeowners insurance market is in a crisis right now.
More homeowners grapple with surging insurance premiums and even the threat of cancellation.
Getting kind of out of control. I'm not sure what we can do about it.
We explore what's fueling rate hikes and explain what you can do to push back and save money.
Then,
way to go!
A crossing guard brings joy to her corner of the world.
Sometimes I'll come this way when I'm not dropping my son off just to see her.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Demand is through the roof and supply is in the basement. Finding an affordable place to live can feel pretty impossible whether you're a buyer or a renter.
Reporter Peter Zampa begins our in-depth look at the affordable housing shortage with a man who lived on the streets of New York before receiving the key to his future.
Ray Rennock shows us around his apartment inside the Prince George, a historic building in Manhattan. This space, a point of pride for Ray.
I moved into the Prince George February 1st, 2021.
Ray says he was a construction worker before a divorce landed him in a sleeping bag in a New York park.
What happened to me is something that I could probably blame myself for. But no one should have to go through that, being totally thrown on the streets.
The National Low-Income Housing Coalition says the U.S. is short 7.3 million affordable units. Breaking Ground's goal? Turn buildings into low-income apartments for people experiencing or at risk of homelessness.
We renovated a former Jehovah's Witness residence. 185 of those units were reserved for lower income. For those 185 units, we received 61,000 applications.
New York announced a plan to address this shortage, reforming zoning laws, hoping to pave the way to building 100,000 new homes over the next 15 years. But this problem does not just exist in cities.
Breaking Ground has a property in rural Connecticut, just outside Hartford, where they say low-income housing is needed but scarce. Luxury apartment buildings often take up available land. And there's often a stigma attached to living near low-income residents.
People worry that it is going to disrupt the fabric of neighborhoods. People think, why would I be paying for people to have housing and all of these supports? It's cheaper to do that than to have somebody living in a tent on the streets. You're not being arrested and cycling through the criminal justice system. You are not having people calling 911 and EMS having to come and get you.
Supportive housing has Ray's life back on track. He uses in-building medical services. He painted his unit to make it feel more like home. He keeps this place sparkling clean, something he couldn't do on the streets.
Ray is fortunate he was able to find help, get off the street, and move into low-income housing.
But for countless other Americans, we know keeping a roof over their head is a source of stress every month. Nationally, the average price for a one-bedroom, 899-square-foot apartment is around $1,700, about $370 higher than it was 4 years ago, and this does not include utilities.
Our in-depth coverage continues as we take a look at the impact of dramatic rent increases and speak to those working on alternative solutions. Mesa, Arizona resident Jackie Sitbeck is doing something she never expected to do again in her lifetime.
Where do you want to go?
The 86-year-old is moving. Forced out of her home of 14 years due to an increase in rent almost double what she's paying now.
It's going from $1,545 up to $2,700. No, I can't do that.
A March 2024 study published by NerdWallet echoes Jackie's frustration. Rent prices are now 30% higher than they were before 2020. Across the country, people are searching for non-traditional solutions to offer affordable options for those in desperate need, but the demand often exceeds the supply.
It's a tough situation to be in. It's sad.
This landlord in the Las Vegas Valley, who didn't want to share his name, built a 160-square-foot tiny home on his property that he's trying to rent.
You have your standalone small dinette there.
For $950 a month, this tiny home comes fully furnished and includes electricity and plumbing, Wi-Fi, a backyard, and separate entrance. Once the home was listed, he wasn't prepared for what happened next.
Literally have 113 and counting people, and it keeps ringing. Family of 4 inquire if they can come.
In Georgia, neighborhood revitalization is a critical element as developers work with local agencies to create affordable housing.
Rents have been skyrocketing the last few years, and the #1 predictor of homelessness is affordability.
Richard Taylor is the founder and managing partner of an Atlanta-based real estate development firm.
There is such a great need for affordable housing in the city of Atlanta right now.
For more than 2 decades, this abandoned apartment building has sat empty. With the help of the Atlanta Affordable Housing Fund, Taylor plans to transform this overgrown property into affordable housing, with rent as low as $537 a month for a studio apartment.
People have been driving by this for decades. They know this, and this is their neighborhood. So we want to be really cognizant of that.
This is the second such property for this neighborhood. About a mile away, Taylor's company transformed another vacant eyesore into 40 units of affordable housing. For just under $1,100 a month, a studio apartment comes fully furnished, including a television, plates, and bedding. For Taylor, he says affordable housing is about revitalizing the existing structures in the community and not just tearing them down.
All I see is absolute treasure that's been left behind.
In another part of Atlanta,
it's like you're in the middle of downtown.
Mayor Andre Dickens tours the city's latest solution to the affordable housing crisis.
This is going to make someone real comfortable during this winter weather.
The city purchased shipping containers and converted them into 40 affordable housing units. Each unit has a private bathroom, bed, and kitchenette. The complex, called The Melody, cost Atlanta roughly $50 million to build and was paid in part by the city's Housing Trust Fund. The mayor says the project is a rapid approach to finding housing for those who are unhoused.
For too long, people have said this housing challenge is a big problem, and they stop right there. Big problems require innovative solutions.
Back in Arizona, Jackie slowly made a dent in her packing as she prepared to move in with her family.
I don't like having to be that dependent.
Jackie says she's frustrated by the situation, but the hardest part is losing her longtime home and losing the friends she's made in her community.
It's the saddest thing in the world. They have to leave these people.
Owning a home is often considered the cornerstone of the American dream, but that dream is becoming a financial nightmare for some.
Still to come, we delve into skyrocketing insurance premiums and a legislative effort to potentially help homeowners. Plus, she received a letter of termination from her insurance company in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, despite never filing a claim.
There were some branches down in the yard, but truthfully, we had no tree damage.
We provide insight into why her policy was canceled and offer solutions to help homeowners in a similar situation.
Then later, it could pay off to shop around, the steps one homeowner took to lower his rate, and the keys that could save you money.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
Your home is likely the biggest investment you'll ever make.
But the cost of owning a house is rapidly rising, and we're not just talking about mortgage payments. From 2020 to 23, the average homeowner's insurance premium jumped from about $1,900 per year to more than $2,500. But in zip codes with the highest disaster risk, the increases were much larger.
Our coverage begins with reporter Heather Graff, who shows us the factors contributing to rising insurance premiums and what one expert says could be the solution to capping prices.
The homeowners insurance market is in a crisis right now.
Douglas Heller is the Director of Insurance for Consumer Federation of America. Heller says rising insurance costs have been compounding for years and attributes the increase to factors that include accelerating climate catastrophes, elevated inflation and rebuilding costs, and something you may not be aware of called reinsurance, which property insurance companies buy to limit their risk.
And for most Americans, that's turning into these huge price spikes that we're seeing.
Heller supports proposed legislation to create a federal reinsurance program which would set a cap on insurers' liability in a natural disaster. That means, after a certain point, the federal government and taxpayers would pick up the bill for these pricey weather events.
Let's stabilize the insurance market for the insurance companies by creating some reinsurance options. And at the same time, let's make sure that the products consumers get are better and stronger and more affordable.
The Insure Act would also require participating insurers to offer coverage for all such events.
As the country continues to experience more extreme weather events, homeowners are paying the price and in some cases losing coverage.
In South Carolina, a woman's policy was canceled following Hurricane Helene, even though she never filed a claim.
Investigative reporter Scotty Hunter uncovers the questionable timeline of the insurance company's decision.
Laura Morris considers herself to be one of the lucky ones in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Her home was mostly spared by the powerful storm, but in the weeks that followed, she's been weathering a different kind of storm, the fight to keep her homeowner's insurance.
So you said that this was from Helene.
Yeah.
Really, you didn't have a whole lot of damage.
No, there were some branches down in the yard, but truthfully, we had no tree damage.
She's lived in her Greenville home for close to a decade now, and she's had the same insurance through Safeco the entire time. She's only filed one claim with the policy when a tree came down in her backyard in 2020, but she reached out to the company after Helene blew through to ask some questions after getting some electrical damage. She never ended up filing a claim from the storm, but was caught off guard when this letter showed up at her door telling her she was being dropped.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect it at all. I actually put the envelope on my side table and thought, oh, I'll open that later. It looked like nothing at all. And I thought, oh, nope, this is just, nothing. And it took me a week to even open it.
When she finally did open the letter, she was shocked.
They were canceling the insurance on my house, and they gave me no reasons. They just said as of January 19th, which was 8 years after I first started the policy when I bought the house, they were suddenly canceling it with no warning, no reason, no anything.
It wasn't until she reached out for answers that she got more information. The company chose to cancel her policy for what they say are issues with mildew on her roof and tree branches hanging over the home. The company used these Google images that appear to be from August 2022, January 2024, and September 2024 to make the decision.
And I suddenly thought, well, what's the reason for this? Or kind of where do you get off? Like, what's the reason and why are you suddenly doing this now, beyond the hurricane?
We took a closer look at the inspection report, and according to their own document, the inspection didn't even happen until after the cancellation decision was already made. You can see the letter she got was sent on October 16th, but the inspection wasn't completed until October 29th, more than a week later.
Oh, it was totally suspicious. Suddenly, right after a hurricane where a lot of trees fell in Greenville, but not here at my house, they suddenly canceled the policy over what might happen, and they're not saying that, of course, but it just seems really fishy.
We reached out to Safeco asking direct questions about the timing of the decision and the inspection, and about the old Google images cited in the report. We also wanted to know about what was being done to help Morris find a policy with a different insurer. It's something the company promised they would do in this cancellation letter, but Morris says the company has gone silent.
I've never heard a word from them at all. I've never received an email. I've never received a phone call, another letter. This is the only information I received.
After we started asking questions, a spokesman sent us this email saying they could not comment on a specific policy, but that they had made the decision to reverse the cancellation. If your homeowner's policy is dropped, you may be able to contest it. First, contact your insurer and ask for a written explanation. Confirm when the current policy expires and request a 30 or 60-day extension. Gather evidence such as aerial photos to support your case against cancellation. Then you'll want to file an appeal right away. And don't wait for an appeal before you start shopping around for a new policy. In Greenville, South Carolina, I'm Scotty Hunter.
Still ahead.
Of course, values have gone up, but triple in 6 years for the same house seems kind of excessive.
The cost of homeowners insurance keeps increasing, but you can do something about it.
We show you how one man found a lower rate and saved some money in just 30 minutes.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime, streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. It may feel like the factors fueling insurance rate hikes are out of your control, but there are still ways that you can lower your monthly premiums.
We found a wide variation in prices between companies, even zip codes. Reporter Rebecca Taylor explains how one homeowner discovered a better deal.
Getting kind of out of control. I'm not sure what we can do about it.
Dale Miller has lived in his Tucson home since 2019. In just 6 years, he went from paying $925 a year for homeowners insurance to nearly $3,000.
Of course, values have gone up, but triple in 6 years for the same house seems kind of excessive.
According to the Insurance Information Institute, insurers paid out more in claims than they collected in premiums last year, due in large part to a record number of weather and climate disasters.
It used to maybe be $10,000 to clear the property after a home burns down, say. Well, now it's up to $60,000 to $100,000. Because of environmental waste.
Janet Ruiz says the rising cost of materials, labor, and litigation are also factors and why homeowners are paying more across the board.
We're all paying for it, even though a lot of people have never had a claim.
Miller vented about his experience on Nextdoor, and after dozens of people chimed in with lower rates, he shopped around.
The loyalty thing is out the window.
Miller says he went to 3 insurance sites and found a better rate and better coverage in 30 minutes. He learned that some insurers, including Geico, which he previously used, don't set their own pricing for homeowners coverage. It's true. In an email, a Geico spokesperson says these policies are underwritten by non-affiliated third-party insurance companies. So, by Miller reading the fine print and doing the shopping himself, he says he bundled and saved with Progressive.
Of course, the homeowners came back down to what I paid last year, which is fine. But my auto rates also, since you combine, they recommend you combined everything, they came down by 40%.
If you're looking for ways to lower your rate, consider bundling your homeowners and auto policies from the same company. Raise your deductible. If you can afford to pay more toward a loss, your premiums will be lower. And ask about other discounts.
Up next, safety with a smile.
We get high fives in the mornings and high fives in the afternoons, and a great smile, because they're not allowed to cross unless they smile.
We meet a crossing guard inspired to create the friendliest corner on the walk to school.
I'm Viv Williams with a medical myth-buster moment. If you lift weights until failure, that's until you can't do one more rep, you'll build both strength and size. Well, that's half right. Researchers from Florida Atlantic University explored how close you have to get to muscle failure to gain strength and bulk up. They found that you don't have to work to muscle exhaustion to gain strength, but if you want muscles to grow bigger, the closer you can get to muscle failure before you stop lifting, the more results you're likely to see. The research is published in the journal Sports Medicine. With this medical myth-buster moment, I'm Viv Williams.
While teachers are often recognized for their importance in a child's life, one role that may be overlooked is the person who stops traffic to make sure kids get to school safely every day.
Reporter Ashley Hendricks shows us how a crossing guard inspires acts of kindness from kids and their parents.
Whether dropping off,
hi, sweetheart,
or picking up,
oh, so keep going.
Ms. Pinkham will always be there.
Higher up? Oh, goodness, yeah.
Standing at the corner of Alicia and Galaxy with a wave and a warm smile.
We get high fives in the mornings and high fives in the afternoons, and a great smile, because they're not allowed to cross unless they smile.
The moment just outside of Henrico's Elizabeth Holiday Elementary is short but sweet.
And I don't think she realizes how important she is to these children. Like, the smiles that she puts out, it makes everybody's day.
It's the best part of the day for Allison Warfield and her son Briggs.
Sometimes I'll come this way when I'm not dropping my son off just to see her. Just to wave, just to get the wave and the friendly smile.
And on any given day, students will shower her with gifts of appreciation.
This here is a bracelet one of the gals gave me yesterday. And on my keychain for Christmas, someone made a tag, I guess, for my keys.
She's collected many handmade trinkets since starting here 4 years ago.
I'm gonna let this one out.
It's no accident that her style of directing traffic would lead straight to the hearts of so many.
It's just a natural thing to do. There's no other reason to do it other than we're all happy. Makes us all happy. Good afternoon. Have a great afternoon.
The joy that gleams from the young faces here, Allison says, is just as important as keeping them safe. No matter if it's in the morning or in the afternoon.
This way.
Ms. Pinkham's motto will remain the same.
Smile a day is priceless.
Well, she is working double duty, keeping the kids safe and spreading joy.
I love it. I love like the high fives as they're walking by and everything.
Kids love it.
Yeah, they do. That's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, almost every aspect of our lives depends on signals from space. But experts warn there is no backup should our country's GPS system fail.
These 31 satellites, if something happens to them,
we're toast. We're toast.
We get insight into a solution that some say could help in an emergency.